with all the misinformation out there, give us a breakdown of what hydraulic fracturing actually is.
So fracking is a technique the oil and gas industry uses. Once we drill a well, we stimulate the formation by using a practice called hydraulic fracture stimulation. So the composition of fracking basically is three things. 99.5% of it is fresh drinking water in sand, which acts as a proppant, and we use a 0.5% of chemical to act as a lubricant. So when we stimulate the well, at very high pressure, we inject this stream of water, sand, into the rock. It cracks it open, and the chemical then acts as a lubricant to push the sand inside the formation. So when the pressure at the surface is released, the sand stays in there, props open the formation, and allows trapped natural gas and oil to travel to the surface. To keep in mind, we're talking about a grain of sand. That's how big these cracks in the formations are deep beneath the surface.
Now, you are the frack master, and so I'm going to play devil's advocate, and you're going to debunk some of the most common arguments against fracking. Okay? All right, So first, the shale gas industry has made a habit of overstating fracking's benefits and understanding its risks. It likes to point only to economic benefits, which are mostly isolated and temporary.
We've been fracking in the United States since 1940. So we know now, after 75 years of doing this, that the economic benefits are great. We know how long these wells now last, which are 20 to 30 years per well. So not only the economic benefits, but let's just look at the last, say, 10 years and look at the amount of oil and natural gas production the United States has brought online because of fracking. So if this was short-lived, our production numbers would have rose up to where they are now and begin to free fall, and they're not. They're growing every single year. And because of fracking in just one decade, we now have 150 years worth of natural gas that we can utilize for our country for transportation, power generation, and we can even export natural gas and potentially oil in the near future. That has not been seen in the United States for 80 years. All of that is due to fracking.
But fracking harms local communities. It pollutes both air and drinking water.
You know, environmentalists love to make this claim, and the reality is that it doesn't do neither one of those things. First of all, if anyone out there has drilled a water well, you don't drill very deep. The water well, maybe in most areas, is between 300 to 600 feet beneath the surface. We're fracking and drilling 6,000 to 10,000 feet beneath the water aquifer, and there's no connectivity between the surface and that formation deep below. And I'll tell you how I know that. If there was connectivity, the oil and natural gas would migrate to the surface on its own and wouldn't have to even use fracking to unlock that trapped oil and natural gas. And it does not pollute the air either. If you look at our emissions from the United States, we have reduced our CO2 in the United States by 20%. At the same timetable, we've increased our production of natural gas by 40%. So if fracking was causing air emission issues, you would expect to see the more natural gas production you have, the worse the air quality is going to get, but they're going in the exact opposite. So that tells me pretty clearly that all of this reduction and increase of our air quality is not because of wind and solar, because wind and solar is not increasing at the level that natural gas is. It's because of our switching of power generation from coal to natural gas because of fracking.
Okay, now quickly, the morals aspect of it. How unethical is it to have all this fear-mongering over something that could truly help this country's economy prosper when opponents don't really understand the issue at all?
I think it's sad what the environmentalists are doing in the political pundits who are taking a position on an idea that they have nothing to base claims on, that fracking is dangerous. I mean, you look at Hollywood, you look at the movies that have come out, all of these things are completely baseless, but I think they're fearful that natural gas will slow down the development of wind and solar, so their own agenda is getting in front of, what's best for our country. 10 million people in this country are supported directly or indirectly because of our oil and gas industry. This is not the time that we need to be looking at fear-mongering or creating a boogeyman to scare people, when the reality is we're going to use oil and natural gas in this country. The only question in my mind is, where's it going to come from? You want to get it from the Middle East, you want to get it from Venezuela, or you want to get it beneath your feet and support Americans? I'm for the latter part of that story. That's the American boom that's taking place right now.